What if you treated your self-care like a business? That's what we're talking about in today's episode, so let's dive in.
Welcome to the School of Self-Image, where personal development meets style. Here's your hostess, Master Life Coach, Tanya Lee.
Hello, gorgeous friends. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. I'm having a lovely day, in case you were wondering. I have been spending this morning thinking about what's coming up for me. Next week, I'm going to be welcoming the Business Image Mastermind ladies to Denver. Cannot wait to see you all. We have such an extraordinary 3 days planned for you. Cannot wait. And then also the following week, I'm going to be running the Royal Treatment 5-day workshop. And if you have not signed up yet, I don't know what is happening. What in the world? Head to schoolofselfimage.com/royal. We are going to be spending 5 days with the ultimate goal of you seeing yourself as a queen. Because when you have the self-image of a queen, you show up in your life in such a powerful way, and you treat yourself in a way that serves you and the people around you. So again, come join us, schoolofselfimage.com/royal. In getting ready for these two events, I've been thinking about my own journey and also where I'm going. And what occurred to me this morning as I was doing my journaling is that each of us needs to have a self-care business plan. As a business owner, I understand the importance of having a business plan. And each of us, I want us to consider our lives as a business. And in order to live powerful lives that we dream of, it requires that we are taking care of ourselves. And so what if you treated your self-care as a business? A business where you want a positive ROI. A business where you're creating results. A business that is leading you forward to the life that you want. How would your treatment of yourself be different? When you think about a business plan, there are some common things that they all have. The very first thing that a business plan has is what they call an executive summary, but it basically boils down to your why. So when you think about your self-care business plan, why is it important that you take care of yourself? How is it going to benefit your life and the lives of your children and your community and your family? Maybe how it's going to benefit your business if you're a business owner. But what is your why for taking care of yourself? Because if you don't have a big enough why, you're not going to be inspired to show up for yourself day after day, doing what it takes so that you can be your best, that you can be your most energetic, that you can be your most healthy self. So what is your why around wanting to take care of yourself? The second thing that a business plan has is a vision. What is your vision for your self-care? Now notice where you go when I ask you that question. Do you go to the past and what you've been capable of? Do you go to where you are now and you choose your vision based a little bit beyond where you are now? Or are you able to go to a place that's like a blank slate? And if you could create your health and well-being any way you wanted, what would you allow yourself to want for your well-being, for your health? Like when I look at myself 5 years from now, I see someone that's so fit. I see ripped abs. I see someone who is moving in a more fluid way. I see someone totally different than where I am now. I don't have ripped abs right now. I'm working on them. But allow yourself to want what you want unapologetically. Allow yourself to create a vision so big that you're going to have to literally create yourself anew in order to fulfill it. It's going to require that you completely change your self-image. But I find that we don't allow ourselves to want what we really want because deep down inside, we don't believe it's possible. And it's not for the version of us today. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't create it for ourselves, that we shouldn't allow ourselves to want it and then to figure out everything that's getting in the way. The other thing that your self-care business plan should have on it are your objectives. Like over the course of the next year, how will you move your self-care towards that bigger vision? What are the measurable objectives that you can strive for? Maybe it's being able to run 5 miles. Maybe it's being able to lift a certain amount of weight. Maybe it's eating in a certain way for most of the year. Maybe it's being able to do a split. It's going to be different for all of us. But what are your objectives that will move you closer to that vision that you have of yourself? The other interesting part of a business plan is that there is the sales and marketing component. And the way I interpret this for our self-care is, how are you going to market this to yourself? How are you going to help yourself buy into this vision that you have for yourself? And just like in marketing and business, it's not a one and done kind of thing. You might have to get in front of a customer 10 to 20 times before they're like, hey, I really see the value of what you can help me do here. And for us, when we're changing our self-image, we have to get in front of ourselves every day, sometimes many times a day, to market that stuff to ourselves, to get us to continuously buy into the vision that we have for ourselves. So what is your plan to market this to yourself? And maybe it's putting up sticky notes all around your house to remind yourself. Maybe it's having certain things on your screensaver. Maybe it's a when then. When this happens, I'm going to remind myself of this. But you need to have a marketing plan for your self-care business plan. Because if you don't, and it's not in front of you all of the time, you forget. Just like we do when there are companies selling to us. And it might be a service we really want and need, but because we're not being reminded of it, we forget. You need to have a strong marketing plan to market this why and this vision of yourself to yourself on a daily basis until it's just who you are and it's just what you do. But in the meantime, you got to sell yourself on it over and over again, because you're going to run up against obstacles. You're going to butt up against old ways of being, old habits. And in those moments is when you need to market to yourself the most. So create a marketing plan for your self-care business plan. The other thing is the financials. Every business plan has its financials. And the way I want you to think about it in relationship to your self-care business plan is energy in and energy out. I want you to pay attention to when you invest in your self-care, what is the cash flow from that? How much energy are you getting from that? How is that bettering your life? Because as you do this, your financials are going to show to you that when you have the right things in place and you are taking action towards your objectives, that there is such a positive cash flow, and all of that evidence is going to get you more excited to keep growing this business of your health and wellness. And then finally, the last thing on a business plan that I want you to think about, and I think this is so important, and I think this is why a lot of us fail in bettering our health and wellness and showing up for our self-care, is that we don't have the right team. With the right team, you can go far. With no team or the wrong team, you can stay stuck and you can have a lot more failures than you would have with the right team. And so think about it this way. Who and what do you need to surround yourself with as teammates on this journey of your health and well-being? Who are the teammates that you need to be in your self-care business? Now, you may automatically go to a person specifically that you need on your team. Maybe it's a personal trainer. Maybe you want to hire a private chef. Maybe you want to find a running buddy. But there are so many ways to get people on our team. For example, listening to certain podcasts, watching certain shows or certain movies. Like, your environment is your team. Who and what you surround yourself with can propel you forward or hold you back. And so part of your self-care business plan needs to be being selective about what surrounds you, the team that you get to create that will hold the space and hold the vision that you have for yourself and constantly remind you of it and expect you to step into it. When I think about who's on my self-care team, it is my fiance, Fonz. It's my closest friends who all value health and wellness. And so when we're together, we're going for walks, we're going to the gym, we're playing pickleball, which, by the way, I broke my finger playing last week for the first time. But my point being is that we are always doing something. We're active. And I've selected these people on purpose. They just didn't fall into my life. I spent time with them, enjoyed being around them, like, hey, I want you on my team. And they're on other teams in my life, but they especially hold that energy of health and well-being. But my team also expands to the videos I watch on YouTube. I've got my beauty channels. I have my health channels. I have my food channels. I have the people that I love to follow who inspire me to want to be my healthiest. I have my doctor and my dentist and my esthetician. All of these people are on my self-care team, and they help me to fulfill the vision of who I'm becoming in my health and my well-being. Now, I want to point out, with any business, you have a big vision and you start to take action towards that vision, and you're going to fail. Everything is not going to go smoothly and perfectly. But when you have the right people around you, you figure out what's going on. You reassess, you figure out what's missing, what's not working, what needs adjusting, and you keep going. You never, ever give up on your vision. You know that failure is part of the process. And this is what breaks my heart with so many of the women in our community, is that the moment they overeat, or the moment they don't show up for a workout, or the moment that they have a week where they've put themselves on the back burner, they beat themselves up and they use that as evidence against themselves, versus understanding, no, this is part of the journey. Learn from it. Figure out what went wrong. Figure out what, maybe you need to change the marketing a little bit, right? Maybe you need to add a new team member. Maybe you need to look at your plan of action and adjust that a little bit. But you never, ever give up on your vision, especially when it comes to your health and wellness, because if you don't have that, you have nothing. I don't know who said it, but I've heard it many times. Your health is your wealth. Of course, I want us to all have all the money and all the things that we want, but if we don't have our health and well-being, what good is that stuff? And without your health, it's so much harder to create everything else that you want. Your health is the foundation of an extraordinary life. And that is why I am so excited to be teaching this 5-day workshop, the Royal Treatment, where we're going to be going deep into these concepts of what does it mean to take care of yourself? What would it look like if you thought like a queen, if you spoke like a queen, if you ate like a queen and moved like a queen and delighted like a queen? How would that change how you show up in the world? But more importantly, how would it change how you show up with yourself and how you think about yourself? And the power that you get from that, the power that comes from you being a woman who takes exquisite care of herself, just flows into every area of your life. So I'm going to encourage each of you to just really briefly pull out a piece of paper and write down the answers to your self-care business plan. What is your vision? What are your objectives? What are your financials? How are you going to market this to yourself? And who do you need on your team? And then come join us for the Royal Treatment, where you are going to learn how and practice treating yourself like a queen. It starts next week. You can go to schoolofselfimage.com/royal. I cannot wait to see you at the workshop. And I can't wait to see you in next week's episode. Cheers. Hey, have you grabbed your free copy of the School of Self-Image Manifesto? If not, what in the world? Head over to schoolofselfimage.com/manifesto and get a copy that teaches you how to think and show up in the areas of mindset, style, and surroundings so that you can transform your self-image.